Good morning, everyone, and very much welcome to day 4 of Amsterdam FinTech Week. It's Thursday, the 10th, and what we're going to talk about today is actually really everything that drives FinTech from behind. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that's not so visible for customers, either it be businesses or consumers, but that actually enables the whole development of the FinTech field, how everything is connected, how capital is being distributed, and how we actually take care of the whole technology stack and make sure everything gets connected throughout the world. I think there's a lot going on there, and you see that let's say a large portion of fintech companies is aiming at that field. So we're really keen to explore everything that's going on there, as well as taking a bit of a look ahead at what the newest technologies are bringing and potentially could deliver in financial services. I'm not going to be talking to you about that all by myself. I've got distinguished guests as every day. And today that's Fleur Dujardin from InShared. Good morning, Fleur.
Good morning, Don. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, great to have you here, Fleur. Besides CEO of InShared, you're also one of the board members of Holland FinTech. So we're really grateful that you could be here as well and shed your light on what Amsterdam FinTech Week means for the developments in FinTech, and of course also in InsurTech, which is basically the field that you're mostly active in. Is there anything that you're looking forward to? What do you hope to that we get out of this week altogether?
I think it's a week that covers a lot of topics that are all relevant for everything that we see to improve the financial services industry on FinTech. I think that it's a very broad program, and it's very interesting to see this diversity of speakers to get new insights and new perspectives. And I think especially today we have a very triggering team behind the scenes with parts on regulation, data, privacy, automation. It's a very diverse field, the capital markets. So for me, it's very interesting to get a touch on this broad range of perspectives, because it really gives me insights in going further. And I think it's a very interesting opportunity for everyone that's joining to learn a lot and to see what an ecosystem can do through impact it can have.
No, exactly, because I think indeed it's a real tour across the whole universe of fintech, you could say, on everything that's not directly client related, and that's a really broad field, right? You could indeed go from being compliant, risk management, connectivity, platforms, and capital markets. It's a wide range, but at the same time, there's definitely something in there for everyone, right?
I absolutely believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really nice. And so maybe it's nice to also learn a little bit more about you as one of the board members, right? So I think, I mean, you're very busy already with InShared, ambitious insurance. Well, I'm not sure if startup is still the right word for it, but you're scaling up pretty fast and trying to innovate on insurance needs. How do you see the connection with Holland FinTech, and what do you hope that, for example, Amsterdam FinTech Week brings there?
Yeah, I think I've joined the board in the beginning of this year, and I personally truly believe that the true impact lies in collaboration. And for me, Holland FinTech, it's a great platform where a lot of parties come together. So it's not only one specific discipline like banking, like insurance, like technology or regulation. It's really all players that are involved in the ecosystem of FinTech. So that's the uniqueness for me in Holland FinTech. And by bringing all these parties together and sharing perspectives and having this broad range of views on everything that's happening, and I think a lot is happening in all aspects, it really boosts the common and the collective knowledge we have. And besides that, it's good to get in contact with different parties to explore new opportunities to improve financial services. Yeah. And for me personally, so that's my personal vision that really matches, I think, the ambition and the goal of Holland FinTech. And for InShared, we always look on collaborating on the parts that other parties are better and more capable of doing so. So we really try to continuously focus on that where we add true value and expand that. And other parts, we really look for collaboration across industries.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think it's definitely, that definitely resonates well, I think, with the mission of Holland FinTech. So it's great to have you on board from that perspective. And as you said, it's around really bringing together all the different stakeholders in one place, no matter their background. And I think also from that perspective, we're really happy that we have another distinguished guest today, and that's Hanzo van Beusekom from the AFM. So maybe we should actually bring him out and listen to Hanzo's story. Good morning, Hanzo.
Morning, Hanzo.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Good morning.
Good morning, Hanzo. It's great to have you
still
here.
Look like my picture.
Yeah, we were expecting someone with a tie. No, so great to have you here.
I messed up already this early.
It's great to have you here as a board member of AFM, a crucial supervisor in the financial markets, and as you also cover the data and technology-driven supervision. We're really keen on listening to your perspective on fintech and how you see the evolution of this market. So I would like to give the floor to you, and we'll check in with you in a minute.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you, Don, for handing over the floor, and thank you for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you also, Fleur. I think there's a big shout out and a compliment to yourself, Don, and to your team for organizing this event. And for the fourth time already, it's great to bring the full community together and push forward the boundaries of fintech in Amsterdam and Europe, and maybe even globally. So thank you so much for all your time and effort you're taking to do this. And it's not very often that regulators make compliments. Usually we hand out duties and obligations and fines and reports. So I'm handing out a big compliment to Don and his team, but also for anyone who's tuning in and listening. I would like to make you an offer. I'll get back to this at the end of the 5 or 10 minute speech, and then you'll see what the offer is. It's a great opportunity to look together at the developments we are going through as a sector and as regulators as well. But before discussing our sector, I would like to take a small step back and go back to the future. Go back to the future to the 1980s, when the movie Back to the Future was big. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself. I hope some of you can relate. But it was a wonderful movie with Michael J. Fox in the role of Marty McFly, flying back in time in his DeLorean and having all types of adventures. So what do we see when we fly back with the DeLorean? Let's fly back, say, even 20 years, say to the year 2000. Let us focus on mortgages on the one side and on stock markets on the other side. Two markets where the impact of fintech, the impact you have made as a community, has been enormous. 20 years ago, the mortgage advisor would maybe come to your home, but most of the time you would have to go to his or her office. And he took all the time in the world. It usually would take you a full afternoon, maybe even more. Costs and interest rates were non-transparent. There was little competition, hardly any comparison material. You were basically locked in with your own bank. So from our perspective, not a very good place to be. So let's change our sights to the stock market. Yeah, I'm that old. I can still remember open outcry. I can remember usually guys shouting at orders at each other, waving hand signals to give out information and try to make a deal with the other party. It sounds like a fun system, and in the movies it's great. But if you think it through, the amount of information asymmetry, the costs that were involved, the bid-ask spreads, the lack of liquidity, it wasn't the best place for a market to be. And over the last 20 years, we've seen rapidly improvements all over the place in the capital markets. And basically, we think that's a good thing. We think we're in a much better place than we were. And so there you can see technology is driving innovation, is driving a better capital markets, which is good for financial well-being of all concerned. So if you go to nowadays, where we'll take the DeLorean once again. And we end today. And what you see, I just did some tweaks in my mortgage, and via my own personal device, we could do it live online. I won't. You can choose the product from any producer you would like, from any provider. You can compare costs very, very easily. You can see all the interest rates market-wide, by product, by type. It's really detailed. You can even see all the conditions attached. All of it is going to be online. I didn't go to an office. I just had a video chat. It's wonderful. Are we in nirvana now? No, of course not. there are remaining issues. For example, what type of data is being used by the bank to assess my credit worthiness? They can still give me too much credit if they would want to. And there's privacy risks, which is a new kid on the block in the regulatory field. And so there's of course data protection and cybersecurity type of issues. So there's a whole bunch of new risks which has popped up in this development. Similar thing with stock exchanges. Nearly all exchanges I've come across in Europe and worldwide, they're all electronic. Maybe there's, not sure if the gold market is already electronic, but apart from that one, all of them are electronic and lightning fast, literally lightning fast. So the trades is now in, as you all know, in nanoseconds or milliseconds. It's no longer open outcry. That has great benefits, including lower fees, better cost structures. There is a whole new audience which has been lured into this market, which is basically a good thing. Greater liquidity, tighter bid-ask spreads. Overall, it's basically a boon for many. But the same goes for as for the mortgages. There's also residual risk, and there's some new risk also in the stock market. So you can see the creation of enhanced volatility. We see bubbles going up and going down. There's always been bubbles, but the bubbles go up a bit faster now. Remember GameStop or the GME going to the moon. Market can be more fragile than we had in the past. There's just a larger group of people who can sort of gang up and move prices. There, of course, we've become more technology dependent. So if you look at the big exchanges, they're humongous IT organizations that has changed their role also into more of an IT type regulator, which means big changes inside the AFM and outside with our regulated community. There are still risks of lack of transparency, what's going inside in the black box of the exchanges. Sometimes it's difficult because it's going so fast, so you can no longer see with the human eye what's going on there. There's the risk of market manipulation, and we'll be moving strong wherever we can and whenever we can to counter market manipulation in every size, shape, or form we can find it. So that's where we step in. Our mission is promoting fair and transparent financial markets, and we want to contribute to a sustainable financial system and prosperity in the Netherlands and in Europe as well. And when it comes to digitization, the AFM accommodates technological innovation. And so that's basically our ground stance. If it's helpful for our mission, you can find us on your side. And if we think this is a good development, moving forward, the aims of our missions, fair and transparent markets, sustainable financial markets, then we'll be on your side. At the same time, if we see risk improving, you either see us in a neutral stance or maybe even leaning against if we think it's not going in the right way. In the ideal world, I would agree with you, supervision is probably redundant. We can leave the markets to their own. In reality, in practice, there's always stuff going on. And a regulation will always be needed, and it needs to be proportional, and it needs to be in line with the risk that we address, but we'll be around for some time over the future. Don't wait for it that we're gone. So if we take the car 20 years forward, what can we see? So what can we see if we look at the mortgage market? Answer is, I don't really know. It's up to you. It's up to you to drive this innovation forward. Where is it going to end? Is it going to be more faster? Is my credit rating going to be transparent to everyone? There's a whole field to discover for you guys. So I wish you good luck with that. Of course, we will be looking at the risks at the same time. We will be looking at different types of consumer-related risks, looking at information asymmetry, looking at fair practices, and other regulators will be looking at data and privacy issues as well. Same goes for the stock market. Can we go even faster? Good question. Overall, in general, we believe that there's a positive effect of the use of technology. The opportunities for trading and investing have gone up tremendously. New groups of people now have the opportunity to create wealth for the longer term, which we think is a great thing. At the same time, of course, there's a whole bunch of risk with coming in with the newbies who don't diversify their portfolios, go into extremely high risk issues. Some of it is okay. It's just a learning phase that you go through, but at the same time, we will be watching clearly that the risks don't get out of hand. And so gamification, it's fine, but you will find us in your way if it's gamification turns into manipulation or pushing people to trade and trade and trade and trade, and et cetera, et cetera. Those things are not black and white, and they can be gray areas. And I'll come back to my offer, which is going to help you a bit with those gray areas. I hope you grasp from the gist from my presentation so far that we do not want to stand in the way of innovation. Specifically not in the way of innovation that has a positive effect or a contribution to our mission. And we put a lot of effort in understanding how different types of technological innovation are used by market participants. Innovations like the distributed ledger technology, the open source software, several forms of artificial intelligence, big data, tokenization. You would be surprised the kind of stuff we're studying, working with, and experimenting here inside the AFM. And by understanding the risks and dilemmas, we can strengthen our supervision over time. So that's the goal that what we're going for. But I hope that you understand by now that strengthened supervision doesn't mean more rules or more admin. It just means more balanced risks and a longer, more sustainable and more healthy financial market. So, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you an offer from a regulator, which is difficult to refuse. We do our best to understand the innovative issues that you all grapple with, and we sincerely try to work with you where we can. And that's why I would like to emphasize here, you can take advantage of that. Yeah, you can take advantage of our willingness to cooperate with you. I can imagine that fintechs will encounter difficulties with rules and regulations, with specific situations. And if you need clarity, if you need clarification, give us a ring. Send us an email, send us a text. And you would be surprised that we might pick up the phone, or we definitely will pick up the phone and give as good an answer as we can get. This is not without limit. We are not your advisor. You can get your own advisors. But if there are specific types of questions where advisors are stuck in the mud, or it's something that only a regulator can resolve, definitely please feel free to contact us. Sometimes you have a business proposition which is unclear, doesn't fit between the different buckets of rules and regulations, and you need to work with us on a more permanent basis. There is a program for that in collaboration with the Dutch Central Bank. It's called Innovation Hub. You can find more information about it online. You're more than welcome to apply for the Innovation Hub so that we can work with you on a more structural basis, working through the different dilemmas. So there you have it, two offers from the Authority for the Financial Markets. If there's unclarity which we can resolve, please give us a ring. If you want to apply for the Innovation Hub, you're more than welcome to do so. I wish you a wonderful week. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. And I hope that technology moves us forward. I hope that in 20 years from you, I'll be giving a speech and say, I remember the day when we still had high frequency trading, which is enormously outdated by now. I wish you all good luck on your journeys. All the best.
Thank you very much, Hanzo. I think inspiring and energetic talk about the role of the regulator. I think that's already very nice that you put your openness and your vision forward like that. So thanks for sharing there. And I think the call out to basically to people to contact you with any issues or questions that they have about regulations, I think is really beneficial as well, because there's a lot of learnings that probably we should be looking at together between the market and the supervisors altogether. Any thoughts on your end, Fleur, you would like to ask to Hanzo?
No, I think it's been a very inspiring speech. It's good to get insight in the perspective of AFM, and I like your journey of the Back to the Future. And we don't know what the future will bring us, but it will be better. That's what I believe. You also touched upon a level playing field in Europe, or the collaboration with other European parties. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that. How do you see the importance of a level playing field, and how does it work with other countries and other parties?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Fleur. Well, I worked at the AFM before. I worked at the AFM between 2003 and 2010. I went away, started my own company. I returned to the AFM 3 years ago. And the big change I noticed is the power and the importance of Europe. And so when up to 2010, in financial regulation, specifically the conduct part of it, was basically national oriented. When I came back in 2018, there's very little you can do, very few levers you can pull in the Netherlands. It's a European playing field. And I think that's a good thing. And so if you look at regulatory power, 80–90% of it also on the legal side is within Europe. And so yes, there is Dutch, and I know some of you like him and some of you hate him, and there's Dutch exceptions and there's gold plating, but it's for example, we have a ban on commissions, which is usually not the case in most of the other European countries. But apart from that, there may be one or two other examples. It's on a regulatory, from a legal perspective, it is a single rule book, as ESMA would call it. And I think that's 80%, 90% implemented. What's the 10–20%? The 10–20% is national interpretation. So I'm not talking about the opting out like the ban on commissions, but it's the same rules which are slightly differently interpreted in different rules and in different countries with national competent authorities. I can imagine from a market perspective that's annoying. Sometimes you can arbitrage it, by the way, so then it can be fun, I guess. But but normally it's annoying. We're trying to reduce that and make a truly European playing field. And so my colleague Jos, he is chair of a ESMA working group, which is called Supervisory Convergence Standing Committee, which is specifically aimed at reducing those differences between this inappropriate differences between different countries. And so I can feel the pressure from ESMA going up. And so you're sometimes annoyed by your regulator, but we have regulators as well. So I just get peer reviews. What have you done on this topic over the last 3, 4, 5 years? And we get rankings and standings. So you can feel the push towards an increasing level playing field within Europe, which is good. From our Dutch perspective, we have always pushed, and I think Don can testify to that, for European solutions and pushed for a European integrated form of regulation. We believe that's the way to go. We think the Netherlands is too small as a separate economic entity in the financial field, at least. And so we truly believe we're in Europe as a solution. Not all of our 26 colleagues within ESMA hold the same policy position. And so sometimes it can be a bit lonely.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine. And from that perspective, I'm also curious how you, right? Because I think this is already one of the challenging fields, is to actually, but it's more on the legal side. If you look at the technology side, right? So I think, how do you keep up with what the market is demanding from you, right? So it doesn't make a lot of sense to look at stock market boards, for example, with your own eyes and try to figure out what's going on. So there's technology behind that from your end. How is that evolving?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's a tough challenge for us. And so yes, we are a regulator, but we also in the conceptual thinking, we are a firm, and we have a business model. And yes, we don't have customers, but we have regulated entities, and so we have a strong digitization push inside the AFM, and the same goes as with any innovation. It's difficult. It's hard work. It goes with leaps and bounds. Sometimes I'm extremely frustrated. Sometimes I'm quite happy. And so I'm not too happy with the way we interact with the regulated community. I don't think the startups and the fintechs have too much issue with it. But if you're a larger regulated entity like an asset manager, or I don't think we're top notch in the way we exchange data between regulated firms. So that the interface is old fashioned. Our technology on the oversight of the capital markets is relatively top notch. There you can buy technology, you can build technology to do oversight of capital markets. We also lean on the firms themselves. So let's also give credit to the exchanges. If they see something suspicious, they have a legal obligation, and they do so also wholeheartedly because they believe in healthy markets as well. To let us know something went on our markets and we think it's fishy, we'll have a look at it. And so it's a joint effort. we're here for the public good and to make markets healthy in the long run, and that's what we're trying to do. And to answer your question directly, keeping up with technology is a struggle. But we do it nonetheless. We can study, we can invest, we can experiment, and we can collaborate. So those were the levers we can pull. So we collaborate with different universities also to do the top end type research. We won't do it in-house, but we can definitely learn from others.
Yep. I think that's in any case also, if you look into what's going on in the ecosystem, there are a lot of parties that would also gladly collaborate with you, perhaps in that field. So that might also be an interesting angle to explore.
Great idea, Don.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Hanzo, because I think
it was great fun.
Inspirational talk, very, very much. So thanks for that. And always good to see that the Authority for Financial Market is so open for conversation and listening to the market and inspiring the market as well.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much. It was my pleasure. It's great to see you all. Will be continued.
Thanks, Hanzo.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, Fleur, maybe we should look ahead at what the rest of the day has to bring.
Exciting program.
No, exactly. I think here it comes. Yes, indeed. So what we're going to hear from first is a panel that will actually pick up on the discussion that we just got started here with Hanzo van Beusekom's talk. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. It will be moderated by our own Esther Groen. So I'm very excited about that panel that kicks off. Then we basically look at the regulatory compliance field together with BeFine. Open banking is being explored with Inverse, one of the PSD2 licensed parties. Then we've got an immersion action by UiPath, who will basically take everyone to the potential of robotic automation. I think also a really interesting session. Then Sentinels will look at the position of the AML whistleblower. I think that's also an interesting ethical challenge there. Whether it's the whistleblower is a hero or a snitch is, I think, quite an interesting way of approaching it. Then we talk about the opportunities of synthetic data, which is basically trying to anonymize data so you can actually still work with it from an artificial intelligence or deep learning perspective, but try to avoid any pitfalls around privacy. So quite an interesting topic, I think, which is high on the agenda of the financial industry these days. Then we have a session by Elastic, one of the most important tools with regard to big data, that where they basically do a session on what the tech stack looks like and how technology companies can actually work with these big data solutions. Then we're going to learn from Alan Overy about specs, which is, of course, really interesting because specs are a really important means now these days for companies to get listed. We got another session by Sentinels on AML and learn about NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, by the Two Tokens Foundation, which is all about blockchain and tokenization. Really interesting session. And of course, we'll end the day with some company pitches, as you may have seen over the past days, so to get your inspiration before you head out towards dinner time. One session I'm missing here actually is a panel midday with Euronext, amongst others, about how capital markets are evolving. So I think that's also definitely one to keep an eye out for. So as you can see, it's quite a packed day. What do you think, Fleur? Is there something in there for you?
There's a lot of in it for me. I think you've put in together a great program with the team and some of the key members of Holland FinTech. It's well, I think it touches on all the aspects behind the scenes, and I'm personally very, very much interested in the capital markets part. So the discussion and also the impact of specs on fintech, because I do see a lot is happening there, and I see the position of Amsterdam increasing with a little bit of help of Brexit. So I'm really curious on all the developments there by the experts and what's happening the coming years in their view upon capital markets in the future. But I'm amazed by the diversity of subjects, and I'm really looking forward for today. And I think all the participants a lot of inspiration, networking, and learning experience. So I think you've pulled on together a great program.
Thank you very much, Fleur. It's great to have you here and share your insights as well. So I hope to also see you further down the line in the program. So thank you for joining me this morning. Maybe we can just have a brief look ahead at the panel that's coming up. Yes, here it is. So for everyone, we're closing off this session here, and then you can actually move on the Hopin platform to the next session, which is moderated by Esther Groen, and that features Stater, Olin, NCC, and BFine. We're very much looking forward to their insights on the developments on everything behind the scenes. Looking forward to see you there. Enjoy your day, and well, of course, if you have anything to share, please let us know. We're more than happy to get in touch with you. Have a great day, and thanks again, Fleur.
Have a great day. Thank you, Don, for being here.